Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Core Premiere Series. We're here at round 4 with the MX-5s here at Road America. This is certainly an interesting combination. This race is sponsored by MX-5's probably favorite driver, Christopher Hamilton. He has sponsored this race here tonight. I'm your host, Brendan Polt, with our normally co-host, David Tilford. He's out on track right now. He's given us permission to pull him up or down, whenever it's necessary or anything like that, just to talk to him a little bit here. Good old Road America, though, as it's a very popular and well-known track here in the iRacing community. It's almost 4 miles in length with the humidity. Look at the humidity, 98%. You could also see the fog on this blimp static camera. It's gonna be foggy, it's gonna be humid. It's certainly going to be a very interesting race here tonight with 9-mile-per-hour winds at 71 degrees air temp. Definitely going to be an interesting one to watch here, as Road America, known for its quick elevation changes, the carousel, Canada corners, so many fast and interesting corners here. It's going to make for some very interesting racing, especially in these MX-5s. Watching the practice here, these guys are loose in the rear. Even our leaders in the session of like Jacob Grube or Christopher Hamilton, it's going to be a loose race. We'll probably have a caution if somebody has to take a tow, because that is a thing in core road racing. If you need to if you want a caution and you need to tow, make sure to call it out in the radio. And then Carl Handwork will throw the caution. Take a look at our starting grid here for the double header here at Road America. The MX-5's Jacob Grube putting in a with a 2-minute 33.669. Christopher Hamilton P2, David Tilford and the number 12 machine sitting in P3. John Nobinger in P4. A great battle last week at Knoxville, the ARCA car. Hope we can keep that momentum going. P5 is Carl Handwork, P6 is Jimmy Covert, P7 is Kevin Foster, P8 is Matt Crockett, P9 John Crane, P10 is Dan Phelps, P11 is Caleb Collins, P12 Cody Hemingway, and then number 69. Hopefully he can bounce back a little bit after the, if I remember correctly, unfortunate stuff he had last week at Knoxville. P13 Joseph Sullivan, and P14 AJ Cantry, the only two yet that did not set a lap in qualifying. As I believe it's actually going to be a standing start. Nope. All right, we're going to be rolling here, as we are currently rolling behind the Porsche safety car, with Christopher Hamilton taking the unofficial early lead. As again, Christopher Hamilton has sponsored this race here. Obviously, his cup of tea with the Mazdas at really any road course. This is where he's known to thrive here in the Core Premiere Series. As Jacob Grube, though, he technically set pole position, so maybe somebody to challenge Christopher Hamilton later on. As if I remember my memory correctly, Jacob Grube got the win at Sebring a couple weeks ago with the late model stock. So obviously, we know Jacob can do road racing. We know he can. So this is going to be a great fight between the 64 and the 95. A little bit further on back, Nobinger, Covert, and I believe, again, our co-host Tilford, who is currently sitting P3 with a very good lap. Very respectable, considering that he's been absent for the rest of the Premier Series season. As actually, I believe he is within one of the people that have gotten in because of a top 3 in another series. Yes, that is the case. So that's why he's able to end. He chose to race, and he'll allow us to pull him up anytime I feel necessary. As we are coming through, certainly a well-known area of corners here. As we're gonna go roll bar here with the number 14 of Covert. Let's kind of see how these drivers see the track from their cockpit perspectives. Because obviously it is going to be a long pace lap out, but we will be going green this time by Kelly Pointer in the chat. Let's go racing indeed. Barry Tech and Barry Kistler both in their chat respectively. Carl or Kevin, good luck. Hopefully that'll be something to... Hopefully we'll definitely see Handwork up into the front leader on this race. Tim Ponzi in there saying good luck. These guys are definitely going to need it. You were watching practice. It was certainly a interesting one to see as they were all loose throughout all the time. Do not be fooled by the lap counter. The heat, I believe, is only about like 15 minutes long. Let me confirm on that. Yes, so it's gonna be a 30-minute heat, and then at the end of this heat, we'll go to technically our feature, which is a reverse grid. Derek Booker, will there be rain? Press exit down. Looking at our new Premier Series intro, if y'all saw it was definitely raining in all the series, so maybe. Well, let's see if we some droplets start to fall on these Mazdas coming around here in America. Pull up the track map as they're now about to come through the final corner to a couple very long straights. There's the front straight, which is the longest of the track, and then there's like two more right after that, which in their own respect have something different. I mean, the second straight after turn one is something else. But as we're coming to green here at Road America for the heat race, so the field is coming up through the hill. Yep, look. Aren't here ready to wave the green flag. Jacob Groove's gonna lead him on by a green flag here at Road America. Groove with a pretty good jump over our P2 of Christopher Hamilton. As you see him run down here through turn one. So far, it's still side by side all the way back to last place. As Hamilton with the early lead because he's able to break later on that outside. A little bit hard running coming out, still side by side for the lead between the 64 and the 95. Really, it's side by side again all the way back there. There's battles happening everywhere right now. As Groove gets advantage on the 64 coming through turn two. David Tilford still P3. Top 3 remains the same. Actually, top 8 remains the same as of right now. The current person who has made the most positions gain within that restart is the number 69 of Cody Hemingway, gaining 3 since the start of the race. As you can see the dive pause he made, Christopher Hamilton in the inside, but the 95 is going to get that great run off. He manages to hang on for just a little while longer. As a little bit further back, here comes Nobinger and Handwork trying to get around the 12 of Tilford. Handwork is clear, but Nobinger is not yet. Tilford will have the preferred line. But Nobinger has the run out of the corner. Nobinger up to P4. Look at the spots that Carl Handwork has made, starting a little bit further back, and he's already managed to be within the top 3. Definitely still has his old, I believe that's the All-Star paint skin we had last year. But if it works, it works. Why remove it? Now we had a chance to cool down here. It appears my STK is saying some drivers have crashed. The first one being of Kevin Foster. Actually, I may have clicked away at the wrong time. We're gonna see what happened to Foster. He made a move going into after the second straight. Oh, he and Covert tapped. Oh, and Covert got a little bit out there too. But the 64 is all over the 95. This race is probably what it's going to be for throughout the rest of this 30 minutes. I mean, draft-heavy Mazdas, this top 3 probably isn't going to be separated. And a little bit further on back, as you notice, Tilford has made the move back on Nobinger. A little bit further back, that is Crockett and Cody. Looks like Cody's bum drafting. Yeah, he is. Cody Hemingway bum drafting Crockett to try and get closer to Nobinger. As I say that, the 69 pokes out to the inside here for turn 1. Gonna have a send here. Crockett, pretty hot, too hot maybe. Crockett way too hot in the turn 1. Managed to get back on the other side of the road before, I believe that is AJ Cantry runs him over. Crockett now has the ground to make back up as Caleb hit road. Exactly know why, but Right on board with John Nobinger here. As you see how close they get to each other with the bumpers, and they'll bump draft down these straights if you can. If it's straight and you're not going into a corner, you can bump draft these things, not as often. But I should probably get off this because he almost lost that thing coming out of, I believe, was turn 5. A little bit further on back, I believe I have a pretty decent trade here for P9. Yeah, we do. The 85, the 11, and the 76. All on their own little train here coming through turn 7. As Joseph Sullivan, I noticed he made a mistake in qualifying, so he's going to have to push his way back up to the field in order to get a good finish here tonight. As the top 2 is still within a 10th. This is going great. As now we're now coming to a straight. Hamilton had a peak. He's not going to do anything about it just yet. He's going to stick behind that 95 and probably will until the end of the race. But also, gotta remember, we're reversing the field for the second race here. So really, how will this end up? Like, do you really want to be in the lead, or do you want to be in Caleb Collins' position? I mean, I don't know. I do not know if there's any points or not related to where you finish here in this heat. That'd certainly be something to be thinking about during this first race. Did they? They did. You can see how close the top 2 are, as they set almost the exact same time, only changed by 1,000th. But as far as SDK was concerned, both laps were purple until Cody Hemingway came in with a 2-minute 33.4 lap time, which actually I believe was just a little bit faster, if I'm not mistaken, than the qualifying pole position lap time. So maybe these Mazdas are definitely more longer run because the tires are very slick. As Caleb Collins has jumped to the pit. Let's see what happened to him. As we're coming around the carousel here at the exit, does he run too wide? If he clips the grass and then... Oh, he can't save it. Oh. Oh, that's unfortunate for Caleb, as that right front was broken, and that signals an unfortunate early end to his race. He does not call out for signals towing, so no caution here. As we are still agreeing with the top 3 thrown under a 1-second blanket. Which this race is going to get really interesting. And Dave Tilford and John Nobinger aren't too much further behind it. Actually, there's Cody Hemingway. He is currently our biggest... Actually, no, AJ Cantrey's our biggest mover. But Cody Hemingway is up 6 spots since the start of the race. Cody's on the move. He's trying to get to that front real quick, as I see P11. Dan Phelps stopped. Managed to get that car rolling. Probably ran too wide into the preceding corner. Just gonna keep that bar rolling though, as actually now I see P8. Oh, big accident here with AJ Cantrey. Who's that? That's Cantry, and yeah, that's the 11 of John Crane. What happened here? As we're gonna take a look at this. Cantry, the same spot where Caleb Collins made his mistake. Yep, he ran too wide, and then as he's coming back down, he gets it in the ground. Oh, but the car bounced back up. Oh no! Oh, that's unfortunate. Actually, gonna quickly take a look at that again, but from John Crane's perspective here. Find him. Yeah, really nowhere for John Crane to go there, unfortunately, as Cantry just kept walking up the track. So, again, really nowhere to go for Crane, as that also signals the end for their races. That's our top 3 still being thrown underneath the blanket here. actually yet. Cody Hemingway, look at him, he's in P4. He passed Tilford and Nobinger within the lap. Probably a 2-for-1 move at the same corner if I were to guess. But Cody is on the move right now. He's definitely our biggest mover now, up 8 after AJ Cantrey's unfortunate accident after the carousel. As these guys could also be thrown underneath the 1 second big blanket. I mean, it's just kind of a three-car train. If these leaders start to fight, Cody's going to be leading these guys to make it a 6-way battle for the lead, which would be insane. You can see how slowly these guys are taking the carousel, at least compared to what would be a GT3 or a GTP. These guys really just start getting full throttle until they really start seeing the exit of the corner again. Lifting a little bit here in Canada corner until the next long straight-ish here, coming into one of the final corners here of the lap. As you can see, look at the draft that Carl Handwerk is getting. If he really wanted to, he could make a dive bomb on Hamilton and Group if he times it right, depending on the lap, which is certainly, that's probably what Handwerk is doing. He's gonna stay back, let the 2 leaders fight. If they wreck, even better, because that means he doesn't have to send it on them on the last few laps. We're gonna pull up our other co-host, David, here. Second, once I find him in my Discord, as he's currently chilling in P6, just kind of vibing around. I want to wait till he gets through a straightaway to pull him up, so I'm not messing him up in the middle of a corner. Says we're gonna wait on Tilford to exit turn 2 here to pull him up. As he is now exit turn. Actually, no, we're not going to do it just yet, because he's going to try and make the move on Nobinger. 3 wide into turn 3. This is going to be about who's going to back out first. Somebody has to. David probably won't, because he has the inside. Really, Nobinger kind of has to back out, and he does a little bit. Go through with the spots. And what a move. He cuts the grass a little bit. Oh, he's loose. And we're still 3 wide coming into turn 4. As Tilford backs out a little bit, understanding his mistake. Now that Cody and Nobinger are fighting, he has to understand what's happening. Now on the inside of Nobinger goes Tilford. Nobinger's gonna have to run off though. It's just like the beginning of the race here. Tilford has to get a crossover move done here. Which, oh, Nobinger's a little loose under braking. Well, I was gonna pull up David Tilford, and then they decided to go 3 wide, so probably not the greatest time to just yet. As they have now spread out a little bit, we're gonna try and pull them up now. So we are gonna do David. The first time we're gonna do this one. Is Brendan, you got a copy?
Yep, I got you.
Well, first off, I tried to pull you up exiting turn 2, and then you decided to make it 3 wide with Nobinger and Cody going into turn 3, and actually, Nobinger's going wide.
Yep, Nobinger went wide there.
Let you do your thing. Yep, Nobinger went wide, and you, David, managed to put it in up to P5 now, but how has this race been going so far for you, man? I mean, I'm gonna let you go through the corner here until you get on a straight.
Oh, it's all good. It's all good. I can talk. Yeah, okay, it's been fun. You know, it's 2 exhibition guys with Nobinger back here, so it's really just freed us up to have some fun, trade some blows, maybe a little bump drafting in these Miatas, and really it benefits us to stay together and you know, do what we can to separate from the guys behind us.
Definitely something you're doing very well, as P7 of Matt Crockett is 16 seconds back from Nobinger, which is certainly showing that the gap y'all are pulling and still pulling on P7. And if the leaders start fighting here, Cody will be leading y'all to a 6-way battle for the lead here in Heat 1. We're going to invert the field here at the end of these 30 minutes and do it all again.
Yeah, that field invert is going to get real interesting. You got some guys that are maybe not quite as well versed, and this advanced setup in the Miata is actually really nothing to mess with. A lot of weight transfer, stiff springs, and it gets pretty hairy.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot in practice that you guys are struggling loose, especially here with this corner.
Yeah, that corner is
you're a little loose yourself there, but we're gonna get you back up into the general. I'll pull you back up about at the end of this race to get a little bit more ideas there. But good luck on the rest of your race still, David.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, pull me in anytime.
Will do. That was an in-race report from David Tilford there in that number 12 machine. As you know, he said apparently they're running the advanced Miata set. Don't know from who, but it's certainly a set that's not something to mess around with. As now, as they set him away, Tilford says, "Let's go." To the outside of Cody Hemingway. That's going to be an interesting one to do coming around the carousel. Actually, a little bit further up ahead. That P3 battle seems to be growing severely intense here. But Tilford taking a peek on the inside of Canada. Not going to do it just yet. He's going to wait until the next corner all the way up here. Maybe Nobinger will follow. So far, though, Tilford's actually trying to hold from Nobinger. He can't really make a move on Cody. Nobinger with the preferred line. So yeah, Tilford's gonna have to back up, maybe try a crossover here, because it's certainly possible, but the next corners would be in Nobinger's favor. As yet, Tilford loses a spot again to Nobinger. I want to go back to this top 2, top 3, really. Oh, pit stops. Pit stops will be a thing as the whole top 3 comes in at once. Gonna take a quick peek at Cody and the rest of those guys. Cody comes in, but Nobinger and Tilford do not. The top 4 currently come into pit road with John Crane right in front of them. That'll assume the lead to John Nobinger. But that'll move David Tilford up to P2. So it looks like we can only do about 7 laps on the tank, which is just over halfway here. So really, I'm actually going to quickly go on one of the guys that are pitting and see if the tires go up as Sandwork couldn't get into his box. None of the sides of the car are going up, so it looks like going to be fuel only for both pit stops here tonight, and this one and the next one. But it looks like here real quick that Nobinger is going to be able to, Nobinger and Tilford, they can go an extra lap on fuel with how they've ran so far this race. So maybe that'll become a big thing to have in the second heat, where they're going to be starting a little bit further up the field. Rest of the field in, as in Covert, Crockett, Sullivan, and John Crane, I believe that is. So the rest of the field pitting. The only ones yet to pit is the top 3 of Nobinger, Tilford, and Kevin Foster. But we know Kevin Foster's history with fuel strategies. He could really win this race if he plays his cards right. Two tenths separating our leader to P2. Coming through Canada corner here in a second. We'll see if these guys decide to pit. And they're going to have to send it in pretty hard in order to gain time on our leaders. I mean, Cody Hemingway's has about the same gap. Maybe a little bit bigger compared to himself and Headwork. But Nobinger and Tilford can push it in the pit road and maybe jump Cody, which would be huge for Tilford and the 44, because they didn't have to worry about Cody most likely, and then they could start pushing up to the front. As we're coming through the final corner now, they probably have to pit this time, as Nobinger is going to run a little bit wide, but most likely they're going to pit, and they do. Top 2 in the pit road. And see how hard they're pushing in there. Commitment code just now. So you have to meet speed limit where that yellow cone is. We're going to take a look at Kevin Foster here to see when he comes in, if he even does come in this time. As Foster is coming through the penultimate corner, runs it wide for the line, and he will come in this time too. Nobinger and Tilford just now gonna sit in their boxes as our leaders have exited the final corner, and Cody just did right now. So this is gonna be tight, as at least between Nobinger and Cody Hemingway, as our leaders will come back to the top 3. There's Nobinger, and Jacob is right there. Kevin Foster is in. There's Cody Hemingway. He's coming through now, but Tilford and Nobinger are leaving. There's Cody Hemingway. Tilford has to go high. Oh, almost cuts him off. Cody sends it into turn 1. Manages to get back the P4 spot, but Tilford definitely had a moment there and almost wrecked them both. Something you gotta do though in these kinds of races, you gotta play a little bit risky. You can't really just wreck them, but you gotta at least try to defend and have them check up like crazy going into the next corner. Or maybe they're running too wide. As we're off this, Carly Haywork and Christopher Hamilton are swapping places. Hamilton into P3 now. Its handwork has moved up. Our leader is still Jacob Grube, who has been the leader since the drop of the green flag, except for the few couple laps through pit road. But after the cycle of 95, back into the lead with 10 minutes to go here at Road America for the first heat of 2. Is actually looking on this track map, Cody is gone. Tilford and Nobinger has in their own little pack. Oh, my SDK is showing Cody has crashed, so we're gonna take a look here and see what happened. Cause that's Nobinger, not Cody. Taking a look at Cody now. Oh, he sent it too hot, and he locks it up as he should. Lets Nobinger by. So that moves Tilford and Nobinger both up 1 spot. Which is certainly going to help them, because again, if these leaders start fighting, Tilford and Nobinger will catch to them very, very quickly. The 64 pump drafting the 18. We're going to see if Carl will make a move going into turn 1. He'll be there if he can. But no, they're going to be in a draft train as Henrik almost got turned from the 64. Just shows how close they are bump drafting, and you just saw Tilford enter the picture there late into the... As the leaders are entering 1 before the camera cut away, Tilford just entered our picture, so he is coming. And he will be there as these guys keep battling. As Haywork grabs the grass a little bit, so does Hamilton. But Haywork, look at this run he got doing that. It's going to be all over the gearbox of the rear bumper as he goes to the inside of the 95. Lead is being challenged for the first time here tonight. Going into turn 3, Haywork has the preferred line. Haywork technically has a spot going into it, so Grube has to let go if he needs to. 95 a little bit later of a brake slide job in racing. That's a first. I have honestly never seen a slide job here in road racing like that. Oh, the 95 almost turned him. 95 gave a shot to the 18 there. Still green. Tell you what though, in the few years I've done road racing, I have never seen a slide job like that. And that's a first. As Handwork beautifully cut that 95 off just in time before the 95 was able to make a move again. But now the 95 is starting to get very aggressive here. Trying to take the win here for heat number 1. Again, I am unaware if there's any points at stake for this. If that's the case, I understand the aggressiveness. But if the points come in heat 2, why push now? Because actually, if Groove finishes here, he'll technically be at a higher spot than Handwork. But bragging rights could also be a very big thing too here at here in the Core Premier Series. As Jacob definitely going to be looking for that draft coming out of the final corner, going into turn 1 to try and replicate what Handwork did at turn 3. Handwork, you can see a little bit later on the brakes there by the taillights coming up, but that means Groob is trying to set for a run off. So far, the whole field being the top 3 thrown under a 5/10 gap. Groob has the draft. Will Hamilton go with him or not? Groob's gonna go at a peek to the inside of turn 1. Not gonna do it though, but here comes Hamilton. They're all gonna do the bump drafting now as they're in a train. They're in a 3-car train here going into turn 1. Groob's gonna try maybe get the run out of 2. Really, nobody can exactly know what Jacob is gonna do here. He could just try and blow past Carl as quickly as he can with 5 minutes left in this first heat, or just go, or like just chill here and save your energy for the feature. Actually, taking a look at our weather, you can see the humidity is still well up there at 98%, as Groob almost brakes too late there to not get into that 18, but humidity at 98% with some fog, so it's naturally gonna be slick here because there's just kind of more water in the air. So naturally, it's just gonna be a little bit more slick compared to what it'd normally be. So far though, top 3 staying what it was as the lap started. Also, we got some other pit stops too. I believe that is the P12 with John Crane and Dan Phelps there pitting, but I don't think we will need to pit again here for the rest of this race. Should only be 1 pit stop if done right. These guys pitted just after the halfway mark. As we're coming through Canada Corner now, still within 3/10 is the top 3. As Jacob is taking the air off that rear bumper of the AT machine. This is some great racing here. I mean, just look at it from Christopher Hamilton's perspective, the sponsor of this race. It's just he could just be chilling right now, letting these top 2 race hard. And Hamilton knows what he's doing around here. He's waiting for the perfect time to strike. No, Hamilton, the rain isn't on yet. No need for wipers. But as you see the bump draft, you can see the bump drafting from the driver's perspective here. As Hamilton all over the 95th gearbox and the 95 all over the 18th gearbox. See how close they get, but they're also not going to make a move just yet, as we're just gonna be at 3 minutes here in about 5 seconds. It's gonna be an interesting fight here, and this is only heat 1. Again, we're gonna invert this field and do it all again here in about 11 minutes time. Or not 11 minutes, excuse me, here in about 5 minutes time. As Handwork, the lone car on the main racing line, the 64 went with the 95. You could just see David Tilford and John Nominger are getting closer and closer as lap goes on. Do they have enough time? I don't know, but they're 3 wide for the lead going into turn 3. 64 has to back it a little bit. Oh, Handwork, too much power. He spins. Handwork, too much power going into the next corner as he has lost it, and now the fight's only gone to between Groob and the 64 as Tilford now up to P3. And the gap shrinking between himself and Hamilton. But Hamilton's probably thinking right now, since the gap is 6 seconds, he probably doesn't think there's pressure behind. So he's going to wait on this 95 until the white flag is in the air for this first race here. As it's going to be an interesting one. And this is only heat 1. Actually, I realized I've been getting my names wrong. The corner coming up is Canada Corner. The one before is the Kink. This is Canada Corner. Will Hamilton make the move? No, he sticks behind the 95, trying to force him into a mistake late in this race. As it may work out, it may not. It really all depends here in the next minute. Coming through the front straight for either for the second to last or third to last time. We're gonna take a look here with Barney. He is waving the white flag in the air for heat number 1 here at Road America. You just see when will Hamilton make the move? Will he try to get the run out of corners, or will he try to dive bomb it in to try and beat his braking point? So far, still behind him going into turn 1. As David Tilford and John Nobing are not too much further behind. Hamilton still sticking behind him. When will he make the move? Oh, the 95 with a little bit of a wiggle. Jacob Grube trying to hang on for one more lap to take the win in the first heat. Hamilton all over the gearbox though. When will he make the move? Hamilton has the draft. Will he go here? Will he go later? It really all depends on Hamilton. Sticking behind him now. Lets off early. He's going to try to get runs out of corners here or stick behind. Hamilton grabs a little bit of the grass for rotation because how the curb is built there in turn 5. If you do it right, it will actually help you turn a little bit with grabbing that grass, and it doesn't give you an off track. But Hamilton, stick it back maybe a little bit. Try and get a big draft run. I mean, after the gate, it's still a very long straight in relative to these MX-5s. And the gearbox here of the 95 machine. This will show how close Hamilton is willing to get to the 95 to make the move if he wants. Again, Hamilton could also be just sticking behind and getting a higher spot for the next heat. There's so many mind games going into this race as nobody really knows. As here he comes. He's gonna go to the, I believe that's the right side. And then he will have the preferred lane going into Canada Corner. Coming through the final few quarters here for heat number 1. Hamilton braking a little bit earlier. 95 has the spot going through Canada. He needs to run off, both of them really. 95 still side by side coming through the final 3 corners. Hamilton just barely stays on track. He has the preferred line for the final corner. It's going to be a drag race here, folks. 64 is going to try and get that run off. Coming down the front straight. Side by side, Grube has the better run. He has the car length. 64 side draft will not be enough, maybe. Maybe it will be. Here he comes. Side by side, coming to the line. I think it was Hamilton. And it was by 1/100th of a second. Christopher Hamilton with the last lap pass in the final corner to get it done for heat 1. We still got one more heat to do here before we call this day a night. But what a great finish. If this was the first heat, I can only imagine what the second heat will be. As we're quickly going to pull up the winner of this first heat just to grab his thoughts before the second heat starts. As this is definitely something that I'm definitely curious on. Hamilton, I know I don't do this often, but this is printed in the booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Well, what a last lap that was. I mean, you were kind of sticking behind Grube. Handwork unfortunately made that mistake into, I believe, was turn 5. But then you timed the move perfectly. It didn't look like you had enough coming out of the final corner, but then you started side drafting him, and you got him. I mean, what was your thoughts going through that final lap?
That's where some oval knowledge will help you. Both Jacob and I both do stock car racing, and side drafting is big in that, especially in like drafting situations. So I just used that kind of knowledge to side draft him. He was kind of a sit and duck, but it was close. He probably could have gotten me back if the finish line was about 1,000 feet farther.
Yeah, I mean, as an oval guy myself, side drafting is big, and you really don't see that often in these road races because normally the moves are done before the corner's even done. But you and Jacob were side by side throughout really the entire last half of the lap, and this was heat 1. We're going to invert the field and do this all over again. What are you thinking about that?
Just make my way methodically through the field and try to go 2 for 2. But I love these Miatas. These things are great. And definitely, if you like this kind of racing and want to join us, check us out Monday nights. That's when we do actual Miata racing on a variety of tracks. Tomorrow's Lime Rock Park.
Certainly going to be an interesting one for tomorrow and today. Congratulations on the heat, where I'm going to bring you back up to general so you can just try and go through one more race here tonight.
Appreciate it. Have fun up there, Brendan.
Oh, I'm going to need it. That was the winner of the first heat of Christopher Hamilton with a side-by-side. Got a little bit of oval knowledge in there too with the side drafting and all that, as that race has concluded. And it is now time for the grid here for the second to last, or not really second to last, the last heat and the second one here tonight. Technically the feature race here. We're going to close this night out here at Core with Caleb Collins leading it off in P1, AJ Cantry P2, John Crane P3, John Nobinger P4, Dan Phelps in P5, Joseph Sullivan P6, P7 will be Matt Crockett, P8 will be Covert, P9 Kevin Foster, P10 Cody Hemingway, P11 will be Carl Howard, P12 David Tilford, P13 Jacob Grube, and obviously last place Christopher Hamilton. He's gonna have to move up 13 spots just to get back to the lead here. Again, we still gotta go through one more whole entire race here as we are waiting on AJ Cantry to come up into the session and get this race going. As actually we're gonna go without him as the lights on SDK are up. And yeah, so AJ Cantry will not make it for the second race. Don't know if he disconnected or not, but that promotes really everybody on that left side up one spot. So actually that already helps Hamilton. He's already up at least one. Indeed, it was a very, very exciting finish. As honestly, I thought Group had the power off the last corner, but then Christopher Hamilton pulled out a little bit of oval knowledge. It side drafted him for the win. This is amazing it's just amazing to see. You don't see that often in road racing. Although these Miatas with the stiffer spring package and just really an advanced Miata setup normally ran in the, I believe, the just the C-Class advanced Mazdas. These cars can get loose. They can get fast though, which we have definitely saw in that previous race, and we still got about another 15 laps to settle this one. As again, really the last three we're gonna have to make their way up through the field, as that's gonna be an interesting one to watch. SDK, take some of my notes. You gotta add an option for me to gearbox the pace car. That'd be one crazy angle. This is the best we can get, at least. As we are now coming through the final corner here to get ready to start our feature race here tonight at Road America. The winner of the heat was Hamilton. We invert the field. That puts 72 of Caleb Collins and John Nominger of the 44 up to the front row. Porsche safety car peels off. Coming up the hill, get ready to do it at least one more time here tonight. Waiting on Barney to drop the green flag. And green flag is out here for the final time here at Road America. Caleb Collins with a pretty good start compared to Nominger, as he's managing to at least hold the gap. As you can see, it actually got a little bit foggier and cloudier here. So the track temp has probably dropped a little bit, allowing a little bit more grip for a lot of these drivers, as Nominger with a good run through turn one. He assumes the lead. The 76 of Joseph Sullivan coming through now to take P2, I believe that was. As Hamilton and Handwork, I believe, are still a little bit further out. Hamilton's already up to P8. Oh, and there goes Sullivan now. He's loose. Sullivan to the wall. He's going to keep that going. No need for yellow, as Cody Hemingway and the 14 are bump drafting and trying to get back up to Nominger. Look at this back. Handwork is back there. Jacob Grube is already up to P4, I believe, and Hamilton's up to P7. What a great restart for the number... Oh, Jacob too hot. Jacob went too hot. So did Caleb Collins. He managed to get back out in front in time. But that allowed Hamilton to jump him, as Christopher Hamilton's all over the gearbox of Dave Tilford now sitting... David sitting P4, Hamilton sitting P5. Nominger must be loving this though. He's already pulled to a 1.5 second gap. We'll see how quickly that closes. As the 64 tried to take a peek, but realized he was too far to make anything work. Cody Hemingway is gaining on John Nominger. As we know, Cody was faster at least than Nominger on the first heat. So I am expecting this gap to close, as it has by 2 tenths just through the kink. So Cody is coming. He is not holding him back. Again, everybody's also now on fresher tires again. And really just a refresh car entirely. The bumpers aren't damaged, or there's no other damage or anything like that. So we have fresh cars. We're doing all this again. As I believe Jacob Grube now trying to get to the inside of Tilford. He did. But now here comes Handwork trying to get around Tilford. The 95 and the 18 are not slowing down by any means necessary. I mean, Hamilton is actually just right behind Covert and in front of the 95. So definitely interesting on how quick the top 3 from the first heat have managed to pull. As Nominger is currently saying the fastest is a 2:42.8. We know the times can get to a 33. As Handwork trying to do all that he can to get around 12 there. We're gonna go roll bar with Jacob here, as he's now gonna make the move on the 14 of Covert. Maybe Hamilton will help him with draft. The line just kind of pushes him down to in front of the 95. Looking in the mirror, Covert slowly pulling away. I think Jacob has the move done already. Not yet, as he's not shown on the gearbox side. Yep, they're side by side coming into turn 5. Covert has to back out a little bit. Groove running wide. He's in the gravel. Oh, he cuts Covert off. What a save from Covert. As a 95 cut off the 14 for a second. That allowed David to try and at least have a peek, but not going to work out. As Handwork now on the outside of Tilford. What a move by Handwork on the outside. Manages to make it sit. Oh, that's a 69 of Cody Hemingway. He went wide. He manages to keep it straight, but now he's going to have to get working again. But the gap to the lead. Look who's already back in P2. Christopher Hamilton. What a drive. From dead last up to fighting for the lead. And we're only 4 minutes into this race, and we still got about 25 minutes to go. not too much further back is Jacob Grube. So Hamilton's gonna have to want to get around here very quickly, just so Grube doesn't get back to him. As Handwork trying to do all that he can. No bigger ran wide. Here comes the 64 to the left side. Excuse me, the right side. No bigger will have the preferred line though. So this isn't gonna allow Grube to catch up because, yep, here comes Grube. He's gonna. I thought he was sending it through the middle. As Nobinger respectfully lets off and lets Grube and 64 pull away as Handwork still trying to deal with a little bit of traffic with the 69 and the 14. We'll see how quickly Handwork can get up there, but our top two from the first race have already reconstructed here in the feature. As that Christopher Hamilton's lap time of 2:33. No, Grube has the best with a 33.39. Jacob Grube still, at least over a hot lap, is still the fastest one as of now. Cody trying to make something happen. You can see the rotation the 18's getting by dipping the tires into the grass. It just allows the tires to just let the car just let go for a second, allows it to slide a little bit, which when done right in these MX-5s is how you need to do it. No questions asked. And, oh, what a send by the 18 to the 69. He's on the inside of Cody. Not gonna have the move done on the 14. Tilford now gonna have a look. 18 has the move done on the 69, but Tilford, he's there. He's gonna send it in there. Ooh, 69. Tilford's gonna back out. It's a 69. Did not give him any space there. Tilford's gonna stick to P7 as Handwork moves up to P5. That's the only car separating Handwork and Jacob is Nobinger and Covert, which, if Handwork stays as fast as he was on the last race, shouldn't be too much of an issue for him. So you can hear the engine Nobinger's letting off, just letting these top two fight. Not trying to put himself in any dumb positions just yet. We'll save those for 5 minutes left in the race. Actually looking on here, I believe Tilford and Cody, yeah, they're having a battle here. Tilford back to the right side of the 69, maybe trying to take some lessons learned out of Hamilton's book, but no, he'll stick behind, try and grab a little bit more draft. As he's now back on the inside here, going into turn one. Tilford outbreaks the 69 a little bit. 69 maybe too hot, he almost ran wide. But he manages to keep it on the track. Actually, something else I didn't notice, Grube and Hamilton have swapped positions, with Nobinger still chilling there in P3. Nobinger knows what he's doing. He's the kind of driver to take it cool, just chill out, let the moves be made on the final few laps of the race. Right now, it's just, even it being the 30-lap sprint, right now, it's still a little bit risky. Hamilton and the 95's braking point are pretty similar. I mean, these two drivers are very similar on pace and speed and just general knowledge of their race car, which provides for some great racing like we had in the first heat. I mean, Nobinger is probably aware of that, so that's why he's kind of chilling back a little bit. Let them two wreck if they do that stuff again at the end of this race, as there's certainly going to be a lot more stakes here. This is definitely when points are going to matter. As the 95 is getting, you can definitely see the rear end is getting lifted from that 64 machine, and just not only by physically, but the air is starting to slowly come off that. The closer you get to the car in front, the less air you're putting on the rear of those cars, therefore less rear grip. So you got to be careful on the throttle with these exits, or just really the exits in general, because there's not as much grip as there used to be. But also, look who's slowly starting to catch up within 1.5 seconds now of our leader. It's Carl Handwerk. He's within the draft just barely, I believe, from Nobinger. So our top three from early on in the first heat is about to reconstruct here entirely, as Nobinger pushing the 64. Nobinger says, let's go, and so is Handwerk, as Handwerk just set the fastest lap of the race. A little bit further on back, Tilford and Cody still fighting it out, and now have Covert with them behind. As this is the same spot we saw Cody make the great power off, but he's going to run too wide. Cody Hemingway into the grass. It's going to give the advantage to Tilford. Going into turn 3 here, I believe, because my SCK is saying that little kink is turn 2. But going into this corner, Tilford has the spot, but he needs to run off, and Cody Hemingway has a much better one, as he's gonna have the preferred lane going into turn 4 up here. So far, very split, and Covert is just waiting. Smart from Covert, as they're just gonna let them wreck, and he just gets free spots for virtually no effort. As the 69 technically has the spot going into turn 4. Tilford, will he try a crossover? No, but he's going to stay on that outside lane. If he can stay there going into this next kink bit, it's Tilford's. Coming through this corner. Oh, Cody, a little bit sending it hard. He sends Tilford wide. They're still side by side. What a battle this is. Still side by side. The 69 with a much better runoff. He finally clears the 12 again. As this battle now goes back to single file. Oh, the 69. Oh, he sent it too hard. Oh. That's unfortunate for the 69 to Cody Hemingway, as Tilford really had nowhere to go. We're going to see what happened here from the roll bar of Tilford, as the 69 sends it too hard. And yeah, you can see Tilford's wheel. He was trying to turn that thing right, but he had, unfortunately, had nowhere to go. As here comes Handwerk. He took a peek on the inside of Nobinger there at the Canada corner. Nobinger a little bit loose there. That's just great racing all around. I mean, the 95 and the 64 are hooked up. They're just probably going to chill until about the last few laps of the race, or until the pit stops, actually. Yeah, pit stops are going to be here occurring in about 5 minutes for more fuel. That's definitely going to be an interesting one. Nobinger is definitely going to come in with these other three when it is time. But so far, not this lap. Actually, I missed because I was trying to do something else. I missed Handwerk. He got around the 44. I would, yes, going into turn 1. But that kind of opened up the gap a little bit by about 7/10 between Handwerk and Hamilton. It's actually looking a little bit further back. I think Nobinger was challenging him. He is. Nobinger challenging Handwerk. Handwerk a little too wide. Oh, that's gravel. Handwerk had no space to go. He kind of had to go to the 44's door there. So far, they keep it green. And so far, this is not helping their chances to take the win later on in this race, because they keep fighting like this, and the top two are going to pull away. So just by straight up watching this battle between No Banger and Handwork, No Banger has the speed to make a pass for the lead when that. And okay, I'll just be quiet now. Oh man, that was unfortunate timing. I'm sorry, John. When you watch this replay, I'm sorry. As Hamilton's going in the pit road, and so far he's the only one. No Banger's gonna follow. And actually, a couple further on back, Tilford and Covert. Foster may be here in a second when he comes out of the final corner, and yes, he will. He's angling to go on. So the only two who get the pit is Jacob Grube and Carl Handwerk, which is the same situation we saw last week, and it ended up not really last week. We didn't race last week. He's not here. But it didn't work in Tilford's favor. So we'll see here in a little bit if this works out for Grube and Handwerk. It could also push it a little bit harder. You see the track map as, I believe, Hamilton, they are right there. Currently coming through the middle straight now, so gonna be interesting on the strategy here. A little bit further back is No Banger. The only cars yet to pit so far are the cars within the top four: Grube, Handwerk, Collins, and Phelps. They have yet to pit and most likely will this time by. Really all depends on how much Handwerk and Grube and everybody else were pushing. Is actually looking a little bit further back. Phelps got past and is gonna get past here again in a second by the 44. No Banger taking a peek on that outside. Not gonna work though. Look at the speed he's gonna get though. And look at that run he got as he goes to the inside. And he will get that spot. Oh, take that spot away from Phelps. As the top three now no one's yet to pit. Caleb Collins managing to hold well here, but the leaders just now coming through the final quarter. We'll see if they merge into pit, and they do. Top two, the 95 and 18, are coming into pit road now, as Hamilton has just exited the kink. But it's also a very long pit road, as you can see. Very wide, I must say. Very nice for the IMSA races, I'll say that. But it's very long, and at a, I believe, a 45 mile per hour pit speed, it's definitely slow. So now just pulling into their boxes now, Caleb Collins, he's yet to pit, really focusing here on Christopher Hamilton, as he's now coming out the penultimate corner here, or the final corner, not the penultimate, as this Caleb Collins now pits, gets out of the 64's way. Coming up the hill is Hamilton. We're going to see how close this truly is here in a second. As you can see on the track map, they're moving. There they are. And there goes Hamilton. They just left the limiter now, so Hamilton gets the jump, hitting a lap earlier. So we'll see. We'll see if that helps, though, because also the Handwerk and Jacob are technically on colder tires, so maybe a little bit more grip, which to the average person may be good. And Jacob Grube, though, is definitely gonna start pushing to get back to that number 64 machine. He ain't letting that 64 win over him twice in one night. I'll tell you that much. This race a little bit more spread out than the first one, but it's more evenly spread. It's not a 3-car train, then like a 5-second gap, then another 3-car train. It's kind of about a second a gap in between each car, all the way back to P6. I believe, though. P7, yep, oh, I called it. Foster and Crockett are fighting. Foster gets the move done. But will Crockett manage to make a move here coming through the next corner? Doesn't look like he'll have the spacing nor the speed. That's that came into that fight just a little bit late. Kevin Foster up to P7. Gonna ride on board here with Carl Handwerk as he's trying to catch the 95, but the 95 is trying to catch the 64. But going through a couple of these corners, listen to the squeal. You can hear how much they're sliding through all these corners, and you can see, or you can hear the looseness with these things and how this, how the advanced Miata setup is. I mean, the stiffer frame packages just kind of promote a looser-esque feel, which to some drivers is good. I mean, I know plenty of drivers on the eNASCAR side that'll prefer a very loose set. I also know plenty of guys on the eNASCAR side that'll prefer a tighter set. Really, for something like this, it's driver preference, but since the Premier Series is a fixed series, kind of have to learn how to drive it. I'm gonna give my voice a break here. I was gonna give you love to hear it. We are coming to 5 minutes ago. As I start talking, the 44 and the 12 send it way too hot going into turn 5. That's the way to get reintroduced into a race, I must say, as they both ran wide and really just managed to keep spots because really nothing would have changed here. But going back to our top 3, all kind of can be thrown within under a 1.3 second blanket. And really, so Jacob Group has closed the gap. Hamilton is not walking away with this race at all. So this is going to be as interesting as the first heat race was. As handwork is only about 8/10 back from Jacob, 1.2 seconds back to our leader. So handwork is not called out of this yet either. We may have a 3-wide drag race to the finish. It just looks like Jacob is so much more comfortable into the Canada corner. And by the runs off he's getting, he is, as he's now challenging the leader. And he does have the lead before the technical bit of the final corners. New leader for now, Jacob Grube takes it back over in that number 95 after a slower pit stop sequence compared to Hamilton. But now Hamilton has the draft, and handwork certainly does now too. It's not over with about 4 minutes to go. The top 2, they just lock bumpers going into turn 1 there, and then they start to lift off because if you stay on them for much longer, you're gonna wreck them. So I mean, really so far they're just trying to keep it clean and at least stay alive till the final lap of the race, which we are now down to 3 minutes left of the final feature race here tonight at Road America for the MX-5s. There comes our leaders coming in the frame now. Handwork has lost a lot of time there. He's down a 1.5 second gap as he is losing time here compared to our leaders. Yeah, Kelly, I agree. Hamilton definitely did do that on purpose because he's probably going to plan for the same thing he did in the first heat. Try and get the runs off, but also if you do that again, Jacob's expecting it, so maybe something else in store for us here as we're coming through the carousel. And now still bumper to bumper, and handwork not too much further behind. Taking a long time to come into this camera shot. As you can definitely probably tell, the humidity has gone away. It is gone. It is a brighter day here at Road America. The heat goes back up to the sky, and there's not as much fog here anymore. So this is definitely going to be an interesting one to see here as they pull up the battles box. Only 9/100ths of a second separating our leaders. And Carl Handwork still holding a 1.2 second gap, so he can still capitalize on the mistake if it happens here very early. But it's white flag here at Road America for the feature race here with the MX-5s. What will Hamilton do? He can't really do the same move again because Jacob's going to be expecting that. He needs to probably either make Jacob expect something different or just do the same thing, but much better again as we came through turn 3 for the final time here. Coming through the middle stretch. The draft's gonna be big. Hamilton's sticking onto that gearbox, but what will he do? Does he stick out going into turn 4? Or does he stay behind the 95 into the last half of the track? Coming into turn 4. Jacob braking a little bit later. He's definitely pushing this MX-5 very hard right now. And Hamilton not really pushing it as much as Jacob is, but maybe Hamilton's just trying to hold back and try and get a run off a corner and just see what works. And if he can get a run off, he'll get to the inside of the next corner. Most likely, if it works, as he has the speed now, gonna take a peek. Not enough though. He's got the stick behind him. We're shaping up to have the same finish we did in the first one. One-tenth of a second separating P1 into up to 2/10 now. Hamilton's going to try and get a run off, though, to try and get something into the going into Canada corner later on in the lap. So far, 1/10 separate him. The gap is closing. What will Hamilton do coming down the straight for the final time? Coming to Canada for the final time. This is going to be interesting. 64 all over the gearbox. What will he do? Not going to do it here in Canada corner. He's going to do the same thing he did in the first heat. And we're hoping these two start crashing because that'll basically give the win to him. Handwork's going to go on the outside. Jacob Grube on the inside. Crossover from the 64 here. Watch it. 95 still has the spot. Where will Hamilton go? Go to the right side. Oh, Jacob almost put him into the wall. Good run from the 64 side by side. It's literally the same finish almost. Coming to the checker flag. Who will have it? Hamilton. The same stuff as the first heat. He takes both wins here with the MX-5s here at Road America. Certainly, though, was contested for the win both times. It was not easy for Christopher as he had a great fight with Jacob there both heats. As your top three will be Hamilton, Grube, and Handwork. Co-host David Tilford put it out in P4. David Tilford P5, or excuse me, no, John Nobinger P5. Covert 6 of the current finishers. Kevin Foster and Matt Crockett gonna come home and bring in the P7 and 8 respectively. John Crane, P9, coming through the front straight now. Joseph Sullivan coming through the final corner. Gonna round it out here in P10. And the last car, actually, Caleb Collins will finish P11, and then when the lap finishes, Dan Phelps will finish to P12. As what a finish! We had two great finishes here tonight in the first heat and this feature race, basically ending up in the exact same way. I mean, it's a drag race to the white flag, to the checkered, with Hamilton being the victor as he just managed to get the runs off the corner, which is what you need. With the MX-5s here and what kind of a hole these cars punch, you just need to have the run off the corner in order for it to be better, but definitely an interesting one to see. Is actually, David, I see you've already hopped into the broadcast, so while we're waiting on this race to finish, what was your race going through? I mean, you kind of did a P4, which is still pretty good, considering the top three you just pulled away.
Yeah, I don't want to distract from anything that's going on the track. I just thought I'd jump up here and get ready for interviews. But yeah, it was fun. I mean, early in that second race, I wasn't gonna ruin anyone's fun out there, so I kind of took it easy. Jimmy had a little bit of a rough ride when Grube came back on the track, so I let him by so he could try to join. And you know, that took me back away from the leaders who were already skipping out there. So but it was fun. Yeah, me and Nobinger had a little fun there at the end, and little bump drafting, little going back and forth in Canada corner. So yeah, it was a good time.
It certainly looked like it. I mean, we didn't really focus on, I mean, you guys definitely had some good fights, but Hamilton in this top three was something else. They were fighting since the drop of the green. Looking at your results here for the feature race here at Road America, Christopher Hamilton taking both wins tonight. Definitely will not be the bridesmaid tonight. Jacob Grube in P2, Carl Handwork in P3. Great effort from Carl there. P4, David, yourself, David. P5, John Nobinger. P6, Jimmy Covert. P7 is Kevin Foster. P8, Matt Crockett. P9, John Crane. P10, Joe Sullivan. P11 is Dan Phelps. 12th, Caleb Collins. P3rd, and the only DNFs is Cody Hemingway and AJ Cantry. as our top 3 should be in the broadcast waiting room. Not now. It is currently just handwork.
I'll work on finding these guys if you want to pull up, Carl.
I definitely will, as I'm trying to type here and I cannot. We're gonna pull up our P2, or excuse me, P3. I'm tired, if you couldn't tell. We're gonna pull up our P3. Carl, this is Brendan and David in the broadcast booth. You got a copy?
I got you, boys.
Well, it looked like you had a chance there about halfway through that race, but then something happened between the top 2, and then they just managed to pull from you. I mean, still, respective P3 finishes in both of the heat. Actually, I'm sorry, but a respectable P3 finish, can't be mad at that.
No, and I mean, those guys up front were definitely fast, but it had nothing to do with them. I got to slow down on the last corner, and the entire front stretch, I'm trying to think and figure out how do I get rid of this without losing the draft, and I still had to fall back to 1.8 and reeled them back in at the end, but I needed one more lap to give it a chance there at the win. And it was the same case in the first race, just pissed it away again. I could have had a minimum top 3, but I mean, all things considered, I could not figure this thing out, and I was like 8th in practice on the boards. I think 5th in qualifying, so the fact that I came away with a 4th and a 3rd, I guess I can't complain.
Well, these kinds of races, consistency is certainly key, and you had a lot of it. I mean, the race was certainly interesting. I mean, we had both races had a drag race to the line. My voice definitely needs to recover, I'll say that much. But before we get you on out here to celebrate your P3, anybody like to thank on that 18?
Yeah, thank the guys that showed up out here. We had a pretty good showing for a for a road race. It doesn't happen too often here, but good showing out here. And for the most part, I think it was pretty good racing. And guys apologizing when they made their errors, because it could certainly happen here. These Mazdas are not that hard to drive, but they're twitchy, and you can certainly make a mistake. So thank the guys out there. Want to send a special shout out to my son Colton for qualifying to the Junior Masters final round in his bowling. So that was awesome. Something I've never done in my junior career. So shout out to him. And then you guys up there in the booth holding it. Well, you guy in the booth, since your boy decided to leave you hanging and decide to hop out on the track and then try his medal out there.
Yeah, that's right. It's just that guy and that guy up in the booth.
That guy.
I told him he could pull me anytime during the race. I think he felt bad because I was battling out there, but yeah.
Well, looking at you kind of falling back a couple of times, I figured he did pull you in the way you're falling back there. So.
Well, I tried to pull him up once in the first heat, but then as soon as I tried to, he goes 3 wide with Cobra and Nobing. I'm like, well, not yet.
Second race, I was taking it easy at the beginning there. I didn't want to get in anyone's way, so I fell back.
Again, though, congratulations on the P3, Carl. Hope we will see you next week.
Yep, sounds good, boys.
That was P3 of Carl Handwork. David, I'll let you take care of our P2 here of Jacob Grube.
Hey, Jacob, David, and Brendan up here in the booth. Well, down on the track for me. You got a copy?
Hey, I got you, David.
All right. Well, you had a couple of very close finishes and tight racing all the way through. Why don't you talk a little bit about your night?
Yeah, just say thanks to you guys for putting this on, and congratulations to Chris for his 2 wins. I had a lot of fun with this combo this week. I'm not really a Miata guy, but put in a little time practicing and stuff, and I was happy with the results to go from not really doing Miatas to competing for a win at least. I'm pretty happy about that. Yeah, Chris, I think his experience in the Miata really showed there. At the end of these things, just hanging out in that right position, waiting to pounce. So he just took advantage of me kind of coming out of the last corner. The first time, I think I would have learned the second time and maybe done something a little different, but yeah, kind of repeated it, and same thing happened. He had the momentum out of the corner and passed me right at the line. So, but that must have been exciting to watch.
Yeah, that's the thing with Miatas. Sometimes you don't want to be in front, especially if it's a long straight coming to the finish line. But makes for also some good racing, some drafting all the way through. And I know three of you guys were pretty much up front in both races. So was it tough deciding when to draft and when to kind of lay back and kind of bump the guy in front and try to make a gap, maybe?
Actually, I was only behind Chris for 1 or 2 laps. I wasn't comfortable really being behind him and hitting my braking zones or spots exactly where I needed to. So I was just more comfortable being out front, and that's really kind of what did me in. So.
Yep, I hear that. Well, anyone that you want to thank after those 2 P2 finishes?
I just say thanks to you guys for putting this together. Appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. Thanks.
All right, well, thanks for coming out, and good luck next week. Or actually, the week after that, we'll be off next week.
Cheers. Thanks.
Yep.
Well, that was P2. Jacob Group gonna bring in the non-bridesmaid this week, that's for sure. Chris, for the second time tonight here in the broadcast booth. This is Brendan and David in the booth. You got a copy.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you did it once, and you did it again. I mean, literally the same exact scenario, the runoff. I mean, is there even anything else for you to say? Because it was pretty much the same thing for you as in the first race. You kind of just held your own. You got the runoff on the final lap, and you managed to take the win in this one. I mean, anything else you want to add on?
There was no getting away with the at this track. This is why I chose Road America on purpose, because the cars are slow. There's a lot of straights, so even 2 cars are going to be faster than one, and I think it proved itself tonight. They were able to reel me back in, but the leader is almost a sitting duck on the final corner unless he blocks or he gets a really good run off of it, and luckily Jacob did not get a good run because I purposely put him on the inside. Well, I was going to take any opening I could, but I wanted to be behind him coming to the last corner and just side drafted again. He blocked a little bit and just had enough to get beside him, and then we'll do it again.
Well, it does. If it works once, why not try it again? And that you did. 'Cause here you are in the broadcast booth again. I mean, it certainly must be nice considering not only it was a thing that you set up, the car and track combo, but you also won. But it also wasn't easy. You were challenged both races by Jacob. Even though you kind of had the good runs off both corners there, you had to make said move onto the final lap. But anybody you'd like to add on to thanking on that number 64 machine?
Huge shout out to Ryan McCauley. He did the paint for this car. Hopefully it made it look good out there. It was the similar paint from last season, just a little bit different and more white based than black. He does a great job on these paints that you see here on the Core Racing Network. Thanks to all the competitors that came out here. I was actually happy to see the amount of people we did. I think there was 14 cars on track, and it just makes the racing really good. And thanks to everyone who's watching out there on broadcast. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the broadcast. Couldn't do it without you.
Well, considering David decided to he wanted to test his luck here this week, so
I'm not
yeah.
sorry about that, by the way. We took it for a good time.
That's fine.
You did. It was a good time.
And again, congratulations on the P1. Hopefully we'll see you not next week, but the next.
All right, yeah, Super Bowl weekend, so week off. I'm probably not going to watch, but whoever's a football fan, enjoy it, and we'll see everybody in 2 weeks.
All right. Well, thank you, man. We'll see you, and we'll see you tomorrow for Miatas.
Oh yeah, Miatas tomorrow. Lime Rock Park. Let's do it.
Well, that was the winner of both races here tonight at Road America with the MX-5. Obviously, his cup of tea. David, I know you were driving throughout all of it, but any final thoughts you got? Because certainly it was something.
Yeah, I mean that it was going to be a race where you kind of had to pick your partners and dance with them for a while, and then kind of show them how it's done at the end of the race. And it sounds like that's what happened. And it couldn't happen. I mean, kind of he scripted it, right? I mean, he knew what to do there at the end. He races Miatas here in core and also in real life, and he watches Daytona and all those things, those Miata races, so he knows what's going on. And Chris got her done tonight. And to the rest of the guys out there, just a lot of good racing and trying to keep it clean. And I hope everyone had fun.
Certainly a fall one. If you guys liked the MX-5 racing, like Christopher said, tomorrow we'll be at Lime Rock with the MX-5s. That's certainly going to be an interesting one to watch. Hopefully we'll be able... I don't believe that one's broadcasted, but hopefully we'll be able to see you guys drive in that tomorrow. Tuesday, for the Core Xfinity Series, we are going to, if I could find it, we are going to Iowa for the Xfinity Series. That's certainly a track that requires a good amount of skill and knowledge of the Xfinity car. That's going to be a good one to watch too. Thursday night, the GT Series, they're going to Mugello with the LMP2s and the GT3s. Again, that's certainly going to be an interesting one to watch. I'm not too big of a road guy, at least not with Mugello just yet. I'm sure that race is going to be interesting. And then obviously, we're off next Sunday here for the Premier Series for Super Bowl weekend. We'll be back the next week for Talladega with the next gen cars. That's my era of broadcasting the oval races, especially a super speedway. Not only as a broadcaster, but that's going to be fun, but I'm sure as a driver, that's going to be good too. If you guys like this, be sure to like and subscribe. Hopefully we'll see you guys later. Thank you guys for watching. See you later.